Going, guys, this is your budget gamer here, coming at you with a $800 PC build. Now this is an Intel based PC build that'll run you very well in most games, almost every game actually, with the exception of a couple of games. So without further ado, I'm just gonna start with the build. So for the CPU, I decided to choose the Intel Core i5-4460. This is a 3.2 gigahertz processor, and it is a quad core processor. And this is your de facto i5 budget standard of CPUs. If you look around the internet for all the budget builds with Intel CPUs, the i5 4460 is usually the go-to. Because 4 cores is pretty much the necessity of gaming nowadays, and it has a low thermal wattage of 84 watts. It has its own CPU cooler, and if you want to get a better video card but you don't have the money now, it has Intel HD integrated graphics, so you can play like low-key titles like Counter-Strike, League of Legends, maybe Overwatch. Crank the settings down and play those for a bit until you can save enough money for a good video card. A lot of people usually have a lot of good things to say about this CPU. It'll do you just fine for this generation, and in the future, if you want to, you can try to fork over more money to get into Skylake. So for the motherboard, I decided to choose the Asrock H97 Anniversary LG 1150 motherboard. So this motherboard is a beast for what it is. My friend just got it. It has 32 gigabytes of available RAM, and it has 4 slots for it. It has memory up to 1600 megahertz. It also has RAID support, so you can combine drives together if you want to. Unfortunately, because it is a micro ATX form factor, you won't be able to crossfire or SLI any video cards. It has 6 gigabit per second ports, and has an onboard USB header, and a lot of people have good things to say about this motherboard. For the RAM, I decided to choose the Kingston HyperX Fury Black 8 GB stick running at DDR3 1600 megahertz. The reason why I chose one stick instead of two is that you have 32 gigabytes available for your motherboard. So I'd rather than give you 4 and 4 to make 8 gigabytes and take up 2 slots, I give you 1 gigabyte stick now, and then you can upgrade to 32 gigabytes down the line. It makes more sense, especially if you're a video editor, renderer, or if games start taking up more RAM. This is your typical stick of RAM. I have this in my build. It has a black and silver color scheme, and will get the job done for every game that you have right now. For the storage, I decided to choose the Western Digital Cavier Blue, running at 1 terabyte. This is a 3-inch hard drive running at 7200 RPM. So that means that games will load up quite quickly, maybe up to 10 seconds at the most. There are certain titles like Battlefield or Witcher that are huge games that will take a little longer to load all the details in the background, but for the most part, this will do you just fine in terms of loading games. In terms of storing your operating system on it, with the optimization of Windows 10, I can expect that this hard drive will boot up your OS in maybe a minute or less. I am hoping. With Windows 7, it took about a minute and a half, but if you don't mind the loading times, that's fine. If you do mind, then I suggest getting maybe a 250 gigabyte SSD first, and then adding this down the line. For a $800 budget, that doesn't really work out, but in the future you can do that. You can get an SSD and it'll just be fine. For the video card, I decided to choose the MSI GTX 960 4 gigabyte video card. So the 4 gigabytes of VRAM will do you a lot in almost every game. No game I know right now, except of Shadow of Mordor, if you used high textures, or Skyrim, if you use texture mods, you use over 4 gigabytes of VRAM, especially at 1080p. This is overkill. This isn't exactly a 1440p card, so I wouldn't expect you to use it for that. But the core clock is actually quite big for what it is. It's running at 1.24 gigahertz, which the other models run at a little lower than that. It uses a low thermal wattage of 120 watts. It has its own twin Frozer cooler, so you're going to get pretty much good gaming performance out of that. Overclockability if you want to as well. It also supports G-Sync, which is great because you can get you're free of screen tearing in your games if your monitor supports that. It also comes with a DVI port, a display port, 3 display ports, and 1 HDMI port. This will you can pretty much max out almost any game that you have, especially in the past generation. Not sure about this generation. I'm sure maybe The Witcher, you can probably run that maybe high settings at 55 frames a second, no problem, I'm guessing. Grand Theft Auto, maybe the same. Counter-Strike, League of Legends, all those games you're probably going to run at maybe 200 frames a second, I'm guessing. But this video card will do you just fine, especially in this 1080p generation of gaming for now. For the case, I decided to choose the Deep Cool Tesseract case. This is just your typical budget case. You can run it for $40–50. Has a black and blue scheme and has a LED fan at the front. It has 2 bays that you can put optical drives in and 4 3.5-inch hard drive bays. So if you wanted to load up all the hard drives onto it, that's fine. Has a side window, I believe, but it's not exactly the most visible one. It supports all types of motherboards, ATX, micro ATX, mini ITX motherboards, and has a front USB 3.0 header to take advantage of that port on your motherboard. A lot of people have good things to say about this case because for its price, it's very decent. Yeah, so moving on with the power supply, I decided to choose the EVGA 500 watt 80 plus certified power supply. Now this 80 plus rating is silver, and we're for this price range of around $50 for a power supply. You're not going to get a non-modular one. You're not going to get a modular one. Most of the cables will be attached to the power supply. So if your case, hopefully I'm hoping that the Deep Cool Tesseract has some cable management. If not, you're really prioritizing performance over price, so you need to keep that in mind. This has a 6+2 pin connectors, and for 500 watts for one graphics card, you're never going to need more than 500 watts unless maybe it's like a beast double graphics card or something like that, but 500 watts will do you just fine. This build in general sucks up 300 watts at load, so most of the time if you're gaming, it might not even use more than 200 watts. You need about half of your wattage of a power supply for it to be at running efficiently. So if it's 500 watts, 250 watts is maybe like the sweet spot. So you're never going to go over that. For the entire budget of this build, it comes up to $795. I'm guessing it does not include tax, but for this budget, it is a really good bang for buck gaming computer. Considering our Canadian prices, you have an i5 in your build and you have a GTX 960, which is fine. My guess is if you wanted to spend more, if you have a lot more money, then I would definitely say go for a 970. I think the 970 is the sweet spot. Or in the future, I will do a build based on the RX 480 coming up. Either way, please remember to like, favorite, and subscribe. It really helps me out. Especially with keeping in touch with making more videos for you guys. As for now, this is your Budget Gamer signing out.